Hey,
TJ.
Brett.
What's up, man?
Brett, what's up, buddy?
Just doing the at-home thing now. So I'm sorry, at the office thing now. Still here, my
Yeah. I feel like I'm in Hollywood Squares. Who remembers that game? That was the best square.
Yeah. So I guess we're all kind of getting used to the life at home thing, right?
yeah,
Not a big adjustment for me, I have to say.
No,
Yeah,
Most all the time there. But
Well, a big adjustment, Kevin, to be fair, is that you're now moving into a new studio you're building out in your place, right?
that's very true. Yeah, because I did plan on and will plan on and are planning on doing more social media, more trainings from here, more discussions. And I think it's important for people, especially investors today. A lot of people are uncertain. What should they do? What shouldn't they do? And starting to think about diversification, starting to think about opportunities, that come out of all of this stuff. Because if you go back historically and look at, problems that this country has faced and overcome, there's always a huge upswing on the back of these things. So it's just a time to be smarter. And I think if we can reach out to more people in this format, it just makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's for you, it's great because you kind of do work from the house. For Money with Meaning Fund and for Paperstac, we're kind of blessed that, Paperstac's a virtual company, digital, everything happens digitally. Everything is still moving on for us, business as usual. We've taken some continuity of business measures to make sure everything keeps on flowing with the wires, with the audits. And then on the Money with Meaning side, this is just like, TJ, is this what we've been getting ready for?
I mean, I put out a video of the Impact and Income show the other day and what we were talking about in 2018 of October. And it was saying, when is the next recession? Is there going to be a recession? What's going to happen? And we were talking about the cyclical nature of what we're doing. And that, we would have rather, right now we would have much rather been in a position with $50 million to be able to spend, but that's okay. We kind of understand we've been through it before. We've survived this last kind of downturn. And I think we're poised. And yes, this is what we've been waiting for. Obviously, we weren't planning on, we're no Nostradamus, we're not planning on a pandemic, but it was a black swan event. And that's all it took to really topple the cards of, the market and the economy.
Right.
And now I think people are really looking, well, what should we do? I mean, they're going to be searching for yield, right, Kevin? I mean, they're going to be looking for stuff they have to make money somehow.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the note business took off dramatically when the last crash happened for completely different reasons. And now we're at that point where I think and inevitably, it may happen. People are losing their jobs. Who knows? There may be some enough government support. Maybe this goes away sooner than later. But even if worst case scenario happens, I think our industry is much better prepared to act faster. We know how to do this now. I think the banks have their system down to get the heck out of the way and leave it to entrepreneurs like us to go in and really help people stay in their homes, which obviously is one of the goals of Money with Meaning Fund. And just with the way we know the business today, I think that recovery is going to be a lot quicker on the real estate side of things than it was from the last crash when everybody was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. It is just, I think there's going to be an abundance of opportunity. It's just the question is now, how are people going to start reacting? I mean, what senses are you hearing on how people are reacting?
Well, I've talked with a lot of people, consult with a lot of people, and they're moving forward. I haven't really seen any changes. They're asking me questions about, concerns on things, and certainly they are, but most of the concerns come from counties closing, so there are some counties that have closed. And when that happens, you can't record documents and those sorts of things, but it's not time to panic. Everybody's in the same situation and everybody understands that. You still have legally binding contracts and such that they'll get recorded at the appropriate time. So little obstacles and things like that, which are really just speed bumps more than anything. But I think everybody I've talked to is pretty much moving forward, and I would say almost business as usual, just with a little bit more thought process in there. Has the activity on Paperstac been high? Been going on over there?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going to closing, and we're doing the new adjustments. I think we're going to be able to maintain everything and moving forward, right, Rick?
Yeah, we're definitely, we've seen actually an uptick over the past,
Nice.
I'd say 14 days in people buying. I think
Yeah.
as more people, I think it's kind of mirroring the market. We know the stock market's kind of just been up and down and just getting smashed, and just consequently people are moving over, starting to look at buying, alternative assets, mortgage notes being one of them. And we've seen an uptick over, definitely the last 14 days of people just actively buying and more deals going into closing. So we're actually pretty excited about it. And we've, like I said, we've put in some measures so business keeps running as usual. So
yeah, I think sorry, go ahead. I was just saying on the financial markets too, cash positions is not where you want to be. I mean, there's no money in that. You're losing money, and I know TJ, you follow that a lot more than probably anybody on this call, the financial markets. But boy, sitting in a cash position doesn't make sense either, especially with IRAs and 401k. So I'm not surprised, Rick and Brett, that people are increasingly looking at Paperstac and diversifying, and it makes sense in these financial markets. TJ?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's simply said, the world's not ending. It's just evolving again. That's really all that I'm seeing, is that we have to evolve, and there's going to be a lot of rocks that are going to get turned over with a lot of truths exposed, and all we need to do is ask the right questions. And I think it's going to come out better in the long run, especially for people. It's going to bring more validity to online fundraising as well. People are going to start to realize that they no longer have to do handshakes anymore. You can raise capital virtual because it's going to have to go on, right? So there's going to be a lot of good things that are going to come out of this that in the past were kind of looked at as like, I don't know yet, when's the time? And so, the COVID-19 world that we're living in right now, I think, is gonna change a lot of things. And then fast forwarding to the future, I think something like this could propel a lot of changes. Whether it be digital currency, whether it be more virtual meetings, I think it's going to disrupt a lot of different parts of the spectrum of every industry, really. But I think for our business, the validity of being able to, bring things online. For investors to be able to do deals online now is more of a, wow, maybe this is the way that should be done. Yeah. And so I think it's going to bring a lot of validity to it, more so than what was said in the past, because all was great for 12 years, 11 years, right? Nothing was bad. So nobody's going to ever stop the train when it's going really good.
Right. You guys were ahead of the curve with Paperstac for sure, because the ability to take a deal from start to finish online is really a game changer. Now it's even showing how sorry for the background noise. I'm at home, but also dogs are at home, right?
Yeah, so we love dogs, man.
Little dog over here. She's in the office here somewhere. But I think more and more people, plus everybody's so used to doing things online and on their phones and on their tablets and everything else today. It makes a heck of a lot of sense. And that's a great way to do investments, and that's why when I first saw Paperstac in its infancy, I forget how many years ago that was, I scheduled a meeting with you guys, right? And just said, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you up to? And I like what I see. I'd like to start to learn more about it and let more and more people know about it. So congratulations to you guys on all of that.
That's because you're a smart guy, man. You kind of realize that this is the future. I mean, and another thing that you're going to start to see, which is really cool, is like telemed, right? Telemedic, and like more doctors, more visits. Like that's going to be a huge uptick in that, because it's going to be that all of these like little things like online investing, digital currency, they all need a tipping point, something to make people really realize that there is another way, that if something like this happens again, with the technology that we have today, there's no reason you have to go offline for a day or two. You can continue business as usual. You can continue conducting business. You can continue to move money. You don't need that dirty money. I mean, it was funny. I was reading an article about how dirty, the actual physical currency is. And like they were worried about sending, like they were worried about that. I'm like, well, it doesn't need to be. So they're like the World Health Organization actually came out with the article. I was like, it's interesting because it is so dirty, right? They're worried about, is the coronavirus going to be spread on digital currency? I mean, on currency. So like, well, let's start using digital currency more. So, I think a lot of those cool things that you're going to see, healthcare, I think, is going to be benefited from this when we come out post-COVID world, like the virtual conferences, a lot of things like that. Rick, don't you think? I mean, a lot of the people that's sitting on the fence with, like, let's say socially responsible, now they're talking about, we need to really be socially responsible. So that term is not some woo-woo hippie tree hugger term anymore. It's actually being fully accepted a little bit more into society that, like, shit, yeah, maybe we should be a little bit more socially responsible about what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's been following the stuff, like what Mark Cuban says about the buybacks with the stock market. It's insane what they were doing that 30 days. The 30 days went bad for a company, and these huge corporations are like going crazy. Like, they had billions and billions of dollars, not one stocked away a rainy day fund. They bought all their own stock back and made themselves fat and happy. And now one bad month, and like, is our economy that shaky is, I think, really what you need to look at. I mean, that's scary. 30 days and one bad thing, and we're the strongest economy. How the hell does that happen? But
diversification,
I think
right?
we're just now.
Great point.
I think you're not even seeing the effects of it. I mean, you're seeing it a little bit, but I think the ripple effects that are going to take place over the next 30, 60, 90, 6 months, a year is what I'm interested in seeing. Like, what is this going to do? How far down the hole are we going to fall?
Have you guys seen over the last several months more people investing in performing notes for that, for cash flow? Because that's ultimately, I think, what investors are going to start to look for, in these times.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of performing stuff. Anything that's performing that's coming on the platform seems to be going right back off. People are buying it pretty quickly. So, I was
consulting with a few people, and by the time they got through and started looking at deals, they're going, man, they're moving fast. We got to move quicker and such. But that makes sense to me. Getting those investments. I think. People start to prioritize things. So if the economy is going a little bit rough and people start to pare back on expenses, they start to prioritize those bills. And I think we'll have a good heads up as to when it's going to hit the mortgage side of things, because that's usually the one that people are going to continue to pay as long as they possibly can, to keep the roof over their heads, so to speak. So I wouldn't be surprised if, we get through that very, very well.
Yeah, a good point to that, Kevin. And you said something, diversification. And I want to get into that in a second. But first, I want to talk about the small balance stuff, like the lower value stuff that we have. $250 a month mortgage payments, $350 a month mortgage payments, having 20 of those, right? To me, I feel a little bit more confident. Yes, I would think that some of our portfolio is going to go non-performing, but to be able to reach out to somebody and say, dude, can you spend $50, $100 right now on this month, right? Instead of it completely going dark. Let's say it's a mortgage of $1,200. That's a little bit more to stomach, I think. And I know it depends on what people are making and what have you, but you can borrow $250 a little bit easier than $1,200. So there's something to be said a lot of the times about, the people that are more lower income, they're not going to pay their mortgages. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, I really think it's a better place to be. I mean, who was saying that to us, Rick, the other day? They made a good point about that. Like, I really like the lower balance mortgage stuff because they're going to be able, I know they're probably more or less going to be able to pay that more than the middle class leveraged at $1,800, $2,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
So, and then diversification, another thing that's going to come out of this is people are going to start to realize that you got to be well diversified. And,
yeah, and we can be nimble too. I was on doing one of my coaching webinars the other night, and I said, if you already own performing notes right now, just stay in communication with your servicing companies, make sure the payments are coming in. If they're not, have a letter already done that you can send out to people and say, look, we know that there's a problem here. If you can't afford your payment, talk to us. And it would make sense in my mind for an investor to say, look, their payments $800 a month. If I need to temporarily lower it to $500, $600 a month, so to help these people out, I think you're much smarter to do that. We're much more nimble than banks' ability to do that, but we can get it done real quick, enable people to get through a couple of rough months. Yeah, your yield might take a little hit in the beginning, but in the bigger picture, you're positioning yourself for a much better return overall by helping people out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%, man. And like you said, nimble, being able to be nimble right now, and not having a huge overhead. And I was just saying this, I think it was to Rick the other day, was like, you can imagine somebody that's really scaling something right now, and then this happens and they got 35 employees. They're not going to be able to like really, do their core business. They're going to be really worried and concerned. And I think we're very lucky to be not at that point to where we have 30 employees, right, to be able to take care of, because that is a whole a stress in and of itself. So Kevin, yes, being able to be nimble, the investors that we deal with, our little niche, whether it be 100 mortgage notes, that's a good living if you got a portfolio of 100 mortgage notes, right? And at our level, that's small, but we can be very, very nimble with a few servicers and a few people to outreach with the technology these days. Especially nowadays, people need work. So you can imagine, reach out to some of these people out there at like TaskRabbit or something like that, to where, hey, they might be able to assist you. They're sitting at home. Could you go knock on this person's door for me if this is a possibility? Let me talk with the servicer, get all that taken care of. But people are going to be needing work. You're going to be able to reach out to people and utilize the community with the technology we have now to help, really get your portfolio performing again and being able to do things like that. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they ain't going to be able to do that. They're going to be looking to sell that stuff. And then hopefully we're going to be sitting there going, great, let's buy it and really help, put our own little 2 cents on it, help these people out and keep our investors making returns and yield that they're going to be seeking,
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
Yep. Well said, TJ.
So anything else?
Kevin, you're mute, dude.
Yeah, I just realized that. Sorry about that.
Oh, go on, man.
Brett, I'm just curious too, because you're around a lot of college age people. Other position over at the university. What kind of read do you have on anything that might be insightful for us?
Good question.
I mean, nothing much I've seen. Everything's gone online. I was already online.
Are you dealing with the invincible ones where nothing's gonna? Or are you dealing with ones who are a little bit concerned about what's going on? Or
I've had a couple, mention it that they've had some lost their jobs. So they're in college and they don't have a job. Industry. Yeah, and they're concerned about that. And I said, look, making yourself have some income is more. Get the assignments in when you can. But if you, I'm very flexible and lenient, to see what they're doing, just to, because some are concerned, like hey, I'm having anxiety about this. I'm like, I get it, this, or one had to move, so it's like, it's all, just taking it as it comes. I'm kind of saying, how do I adjust and just be as fair as I can be? Because, just right. This time you need to be, you just need to be like that.
Yeah. And I think that generation may, because they saw the last crash and they saw, possibly their own family or friends of friends that went through foreclosures and rough times, and they saw them come out of that. So I think that generation has a little bit of, hey, it'll be fine. And I think the most important thing for them to understand is communicate. And once again, if you're in a situation where you're renting property or you're in a situation where you own notes, and you can help people by giving them temporarily a lower payment or doing some kind of a workout, I think that's going to pay huge dividends later on. So that's good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess besides that, anybody guys got any neat things you guys are planning on focusing outside of notes that over this time we have to ourselves that you guys want to share with people, like, what your hobby is, what you plan on reading, anything fun like that, or where your attention will be?
Yeah.
Well, I've got 3 kids, so I'm if I'm at the house, there's a chance I'll be a teacher for a little bit, because the kids obviously don't have school, which they're heartbroken about. But on the school front, like the schools, they're like, at least my kids' schools are already setting up online learning.
Yeah.
Everything is going moving to online there. So they'll have, they're trying to plan on April 1st being business as usual. Like the kids will have online learning, and mom and dad just have to help out where we can. So, I mean,
I think that's going to have a long-term impact on education at all levels, from younger kids like yours all the way up through college. I think it's going to have a lasting impact. And I certainly have, I'm thankful that I've done most of all of my training recently online, and people are becoming more and more used to that and adjusted to that. I think it's a great way to go if you can put out good content. So I really, you know, part of what I do, to answer your question, Brett, too, is I study the market and I try to stay on top of everything. And I just plan on putting out more and more content. You know, it's so easy today to throw a camera on and get a microphone in front of you and you know, be able to put your voice out there today. So I'm having more fun with that, and want to increase the number of podcasts that I do, and so for me, that's kind of my little hobby.
Gotcha. TJ?
Yeah, that's a good hobby, man. Because right now, right, in Brett, you know how many eyes are on like the social media feed. We're telling, don't sit on social media and just watch the feed because you'll go nuts, right? Because of all the stuff that you're hearing. But let's face it, there's a lot of market share available for people to get it if you want. A lot of eyes out there. So you have to differentiate yourself somehow. So trying to do entertaining like content, video content that I've been trying to put out, just to try to maybe break up the monotony down the line when people are scrolling through our stuff, and bringing like little things here and there. Like Kevin, you do that tip of the day, which is fun to listen to. It's quick. It's not all the fire and brimstone. I like to pepper in reality a lot of the times too about what's going on. If you don't want to read, you know, go on to the Fed's website and read stuff because it's not that entertaining. I do that, and I can kind of bring that to what we've been seeing. So like,
didn't you start an MWM Tip of the Day? I saw that.
Yeah. There's a video, MWM Tip of the Day.
Is that on LinkedIn, or what social media is
everything.
MWMfund and Paperstac on?
That's on YouTube. That's on LinkedIn. That's on Facebook. And the platform that I'm using for it is just awesome because you can post it and publish it right there. So I can geek out and like edit my own videos and have some fun with it. And I think it's really fun stuff. People said that they like videos. But yeah, I copied that.
Yeah.
Your tip of the day, just add a little video to it. But now is the time. I was just talking to my sister. She's out in Arizona. Is like how much things you can actually learn, like things that you'd never want to learn about. So I'm reading a really good book, and I recommend it. And I told Rick about it.
Real Estate Without Renters.
Real Estate Without Renters.
Right.
But it's besides that one, it's by an author called Thomas Piketty, Pikkerty, and it's called Capital. And he just came out with another book. It's called Capital in the 21st Century, and I believe I have that right. But it's 1,000 pages, and it really is, you know, the history of basically economics. And what's interesting, one little tidbit is, you know, since we until taxes started to be collected in our country is like 1903, we have no data past that. It's all theoretical. So Karl Marxism, that's theoretical, right? Now this guy's able to attach real data, right, to what's going on in the past up until present, so I can fully understand the economy and economics and a little bit more. So I can become an expert in that, which is really, really something that a lot of people don't want to do. So I figured do something to where a lot of people do not want to do it, become an expert in that, and hopefully I can be relevant, entertaining, and yeah, we'll just keep putting out new stuff. Like this is our first one like this, guys. I think that we can do different stuff, keep it fun and light and entertaining, and do some different things that we have. But I'm glad that Brett, you and Kevin and Rick, you know, everybody's able to join. First and foremost, that everybody's healthy, because I know I got really sick like last Friday, and I got 102 fever, and then Kevin said, my wife sent out a text because I literally could not.
I still think you guys were joking. I don't know. I still don't know what to believe.
And Kevin's like, "Only the strong survive." And I'm going to tell you that it's funny at a different level because Rick always says, inferior genes, to me, because I'm like, God, man, that's right. My genes suck. I'm like such a weakling. And so Kevin put that out, and my wife's, she's got a sense of humor, thank God. But anyway, so that was just kind of funny. I know Kevin was just laughing his ass off, and then he heard crickets for a while. What the hell? And Rick kind of, oh well, Tanya, that was that was Kevin.
Yeah, well, look, in fairness, at 4:45 on a Friday, we get a group text saying that you're sick and have a fever. I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah.
My dog ate my homework.
I thought you guys were pulling one over on me. But
yeah, I saw that. I was like, that was funny.
So
yeah.
fun.
Yeah. What was the last thing we're going to cover?
Anybody got, hey, you want to plug your website, Kevin?
Sure. If you're looking for online education on notes, just go to kevinshortle.com. That's KevinShortle.com. And you can see all the various courses on there and such that I have. So, good time to take advantage of that if you need more education on what to invest in and such. It's all online. So you take advantage of the time while you're home. If you're home working, or if you're home and not working, you've got time to look into something else. Sure. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, bro, I know, MWMfund.com. We're open. We're taking investments. We, like Rick said earlier, we've planned for this. We knew that eventually something was going to happen. And we just wanted to be ready and be able to take money from everybody in the country for the minimum investment of $200, accredited, non-accredited. You could be sitting in your underwear, invest online. You want to diversify, get into something great. We're ready to go and ready to take investment. So, let's keep it rolling. And then if you want to hit it up with Paperstac, which I just actually formed a community for MWMfund on Paperstac. So looking to start to do some more retail investment there to get more deal flow going on. And I love, it's my first time really using the community feature. And it is, I'm going to tell you what, because I haven't been hands-on with Paperstac as much, and it's what it is. But I now get the chance to actually go on there as a user, almost like a first-time user, with all these new stuff that's going on, and it is unbelievable. I'm not just putting my, touting my own thing here because, I'm a co-founder in the company. It's unbelievable, the technology. And I was able to form a community, and it's just really, really, really cool what you're able to do there. It's unlike anything. It was like exactly what Rick and I dreamed of like 7 years ago, sitting there in our office going, what the hell are we doing with these spreadsheets? I go, I don't know how many years we can do this. Right, Rick?
You're right. Yeah.
The old tapes. Yeah.
The good thing is the new format is coming out. It's right now in QA, which means I have to test it. But once it's all done, it's all the other features that we've been really trying to push out this Q1 with the breaking out the transaction. Being able to do all that is that much closer to reality. And so that's hopefully next week, Mike's able to get to all that. And, April 1st, we have that whole new feature where you can just order up a transaction, not even have to click on the marketplace. But good news is with Paperstac, I have got a tape over just recently that if people are into seconds, there's a lot of seconds that are reperforming that are coming on right now. And that's interesting. And then recently, it should be updated as soon as I get through the QA, which is everything's waiting on me to finish that. But I just got in there today. But land is another one that's now an option. Now you just click a drop down and add land. And we had a pool of land just sell.
I saw Colorado.
Yeah, it's just out there in Colorado. Mm-hmm.
What it was land for like $5,000. Why the hell didn't we buy that thing? That's crazy. Like what? That's a really interesting thing. So that's what I'm saying is there's going to be so many cool things that are coming out that we have the platform and the technology to be able to put it out there to people. So, we can really help out in that area. I love it.
Yeah. Well, good stuff, guys. Anything else to add before we wrap it up, or?
No, let's get looking forward to getting together again sometime next week.
All right. Everybody watching, stay safe and stay healthy and spend some time with your friends and family and to take this time to relax and know that, we'll get through this together. Right?
Yep.
Kevin,
Cool.
we'll see you around Winter Park, man. I might see you walking by my house. I don't know.
Sounds good. I'll be out there.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.